Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video we are going to continue with our food delivery application with Firebase and Stripe. So in this video we are going to be working on the menu details page, right? As you can see, we have the menu image, we have the menu title, menu description, and then we have the quantity, price, and then we have like extra ingredients that you can add to your menu, right? For example, if you want to add cheese, if you want to add mushrooms, and then if you want to add tomato sauce, right? So without wasting much of the time, let's check in our database, right? So in our database, I've already added this ingredients array, and then with a few maps, right? So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to add one more ingredient inside our database, and then if you want, you can, in your Firebase database, you can just add these ingredients as I am doing, right? So let's create a field called ingredients. So this field is going to be an array, right? It's going to be an array, and then inside this ingredients field we need a map, right? A map field, and then the name is going to be, I'm just going to call it ice blocks, right? And then we are just going to add the price. For example, if the user wants to add ice blocks into their Fanta drink, right, we'll just make sure that they'll pay maybe an extra 99 cents, something like this, right? You can see these ingredients, right? Ice blocks, right? And then for example, if the user wants a straw, right, what we can basically do is we can add another one, a map, and then name, and then we can just say add drinking straw, right? Add drinking straw, and then the price, which is going to be a number. Let's say it's going to be, the price is going to be 0, right? Right. For example, and then let's make sure we have another drink which is going to be a stripe. Let's also make sure that we add ingredients. So this is going to be an array. And then let's make sure we add a map. And then on the map we have name, which is going to be add straw, right? And then price, make sure it's a number. Let's make sure that price is 0. And then let's also add another item. It's going to be a map, name, and then let's make sure ice blocks, and then the price, let's just make sure it's 99 cents. Alright, so we are done with adding these ingredients in our database. Now let's jump right back into our Flutter code, and then let's make sure that we display the menu items, right? Okay, so going back into our Flutter code, let's go into our features folder that we created in previous videos. So let's create a folder called ingredients, and then inside that folder we need the models folder. We also need screens, and then we also need the repository. We also need the controllers folder, and then we also need the widgets folder. Okay, so now let's create the ingredient model. Okay, so what I'm basically going to do is, let's go inside our categories folder. Inside our category, let's just copy this, or this is going to be similar. and then let's go inside our ingredient folder. What I'm just going to do is I'm just going to change this to ingredient model. Right, and then what we can basically do is let's change this string name, and then this must be also price. Let's change this to price. Okay, and then let's just get rid of this, and then we must change this to make sure that it's similar to our file name here, so it must be ingredient. Okay, and then same as below. Okay, so now we need to run flutter pub build run. Okay, so we need to run this command. And then since this file is going to be inside the models folder, right, what we need to make sure is to make sure that JSON serializable, so that we need to convert it to explicit to JSON, since this is going to be a nested file inside another. It will the nested JSON in another JSON, right? For example, because now what we are going to do is inside our menu, let's go inside our menu, right? Inside our models folder, what we are just going to do is we need to define a list of ingredients, right? List of ingredient model, which is going to be nullable, which is going to be ingredients, right? Which is going to be ingredients, right? So now okay, now that we are done, now what we need to do is we just need to work on our ingredients. Right, now that we are done with this, right, we just need to now that we are done with this, we just need to work on our menu details page, right? So now let's just close this folder right here, the categories folder, all these folders. Let's just make sure that we just close them, and then inside our menu here, inside screens, okay, so let's create a file called screens. So a menu details screen.dat. Okay, so this is the menu detail screen right here. this is the user interface that we are going to be building right here, right? So let's make sure that it's going to be a stateful widget, and then menu details page, right? And then the first thing that we need to do is we need to change this to consumer stateful widget, since we are going to be consuming Riverpod providers, right? And then we need to change this state to consumer state. Right. So now we need to create an empty list for storing our ingredients, right? So this list is going to be a list of type ingredients model, right? And then the list is going to be selected ingredients. Which is going to be just an empty list, right? Like this. It's going to be an empty list just like this, right? And then we need to just define the height, and then the height is going to be of type media query dot of context dot size dot height, right? And then we need to get the menu, and then this menu is going to be modal route dot of context. Dot settings dot arguments is menu model. Okay, right. So we need to make sure that if we go back to our home screen, right? So let's go back to our home screen. This is our all menu widget, right? This is our all menu widget. So let's go inside our menu. Let's go back inside our menu folder, right? Inside our home, and then menu, and then widgets, all menu widgets here, right? So we need to make sure that when the menu item widget, when the user clicks on the menu item widget, we need to just wrap it with a gesture detector, right? And then on this gesture detector, what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to invoke the onTap function. So it's going to be navigator dot push named, right? And then for the route, what we just need to pass, we need to pass material page route, and then it's going to be, okay, it's not supposed to be push named, right? It's supposed to be push, and then it takes in a context. as a parameter, and then this builder method should return the menu details page, right? It should return the menu details page, and then we need to just pass in settings, right? And then for the settings we need to pass in route settings. Inside this route settings, that's when we pass in our arguments, right? And then our arguments is going to be data and then index. And then if you check, this data is of type menu model. It's a list of menu models, right? So like this. So when we do it like this, inside our menu details page, we are going to get these arguments here, right, using this method. This method is just going to get these menu arguments from this method right here, right? We are just going to get this argument, right? So right, okay. So now that we are done, what we need to do is we just need to return a scaffold widget, right? We just need to make sure we return the scaffold widget, and then we just make sure that the background color is equals to up colors to primary color, right? And then in the body we are just going to repeat with the surf area widget, right? And then the body we are going to repeat with the surf area widget, and then the child of the surf area is going to be a single child score view, right? It's going to be a single child score view, and then child is going to be a column widget, right? So inside that column widget, in the main axis alignment, you need to make sure that the main axis alignment is supposed to start, and then the cross axis alignment also is equals to cross axis alignment dot start, not stretch but start. Okay, right? And then children, because a column widget is going to contain a lot of child widgets which are going to be children, right? So now what we need here is these icons right here. We need these two icons right here. We need the back icon, and we also need this add to favorite icon, right? So basically what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to create a raw widget, and then we main axis alignment, we need to make sure that there's a space between these items. Main axis alignment dot space between the two children. Okay, and then we need to provide children. So within these children, what we need to do is we need to create a container. I'm just going to create a container widget, right? I'm just going to create a container widget. I'm just going to give it a height of 43 and also a width of 43, right? And then I'm just going to decorate it also. Box decoration, and then I'm just going to give it a color of white. And then the next thing that we need to do is let's give it a shape. So this shape is going to be a box shape dot circle, like this. All right, and then yeah, so let's make sure that we have item here, and let's just save it to make sure that our code is properly formatted. And then the next thing that we need is The next thing that we need is a child. And then for a child, what we are going to do is to make sure that image.asset. And then for our image.asset, we just need assets slash icons, and then slash we need this back arrow here. So let's see if we have it. If we don't have it, so let's go to our Figma file, and let's make sure that we just download it from Figma. So this is the icon that we need, the back arrow. This is the back arrow that we need. So let's just export it. Export back arrow. Let me just rename it to back arrow. Yeah, let's just replace it. And then just make sure you download it from your file explorer. So just make sure that you download it from your file explorer. So I've just downloaded it, and then inside my assets folder, I'm just going to open my assets folder. So review in Finder, and then assets. Then under icons, I'm just going to paste it inside this icons folder, right? And then I'm just going to rename it to back arrow, like this. All right. So now that we are done, we now have the back arrow. Back arrow.png, right? So as you can see, we now have this icon right here. But what we are going to do is we are going to use it several times. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going inside our util folder, and then our widgets. I'm just going to create a new file called decorated circle icon.dat. So I'm just going to create this stateless widget, and then I'm just going circle icon. So right, so here I'm just going to return this icon here, and then what I'm just going to do is make sure that image, and then image, and then what I'm just going to do is required this dot image, right? So under child, what I'm just going to do is just going to provide this image right here, and then I'm just going to leave it like this. Let's put a circle modifier. So now we can reuse it multiple times, right? So instead of doing like this, I'm just going to do is I'm just going to circle icon, right? And then it takes in an image, and then this image is going to be image.asset, right? You can see now it's much more, it's now reusable and even much more clean, right? Assets, and then icons, and then what did we name our icon? Is going to be back arrow.png. Okay, now that we're done with this, now we can even copy this, and then we can paste another one below, right below it. So this one now is going to be your favorite.png. right? So let's just make sure that we just put some padding on this icon, and then let's try to run our emulator, and then let's see how it appears, right? And then we need a gesture detector on the back icon here, gesture detector, and then we need an on tab. So what I'm just going to do is navigate .pop. Okay, navigator.pop, which then takes us back to our menu details, to our homepage, right? So let's see if it's going to work, right? So now we are done with our icons. So the next thing that we need to work on is our image. We need to display our image, right? So we are just going to display it right before this icon. So our image is going to be under these icons, right? We want to center the image, and then we also want it to be inside a clip rect. So child, it's going to be inside a clip rect widget, because we just need to give it a border radius. And then child image, and then image.metric, and then we need to make sure that menu.image .toString, like this, okay? And then height 224, and then width, this was 224, okay, like this. And then so the width, we need to make sure that it's double dot infinite, so I want you to fill the whole screen widthwise, right? And then fit, we need to make sure that it's box width dot fill, like this, right? And then also we need to make sure we wrap the clip rect to the padding widget, right? We wrap it to the padding widget, right? So after the center widget, right, after we are done with this, some spacing, size box, and then give it a height of 10, right? And then the next thing that we need is to do is, as you can see from our Figma design right here, we have this item, we have this design right here, right? So this container, that's the container that we want to display, right? So as you can see now, this is our, and then list main model is not a type of, okay, so let's refresh and then let's try again. So I don't know why we're getting this error here. So let's just get rid of this thing here. We made a typo. So now you can see this item is appearing, right? We now have this item appearing here, right? So now what we need to work on now is this design right here. is this design right here, right? So let's continue. So it's going to be a container. It's going to be a container widget, and then that container, you need to give it a height, and then the height is going to be height 0.7. We want it to occupy like 70% of the entire screen, right? And then let's make sure that we wrap it with a padding widget, right? Padding widget, and then let's decorate our container using the box decoration, right? And then let's give it a color, which is of colors to white. And then the next thing that we need is a border radius. Then it's going to be border radius dot only. Because we want only the border radius at the top part, the top left, which is going to be radius dot circular of 20, and also the top right. Right, so now that we're done, so let's just make sure we just wrap this with a constant widget like this, right? And then the child is going to be a single child score view. The child is going to be a single child score view, and then we need a column, children, and then inside this column what we need is text, and then it's going to be menu dot title dot toString, and then we need a style. It's going to be text style, and then the color, let's make sure the color is colors dot black, and then font size, let's make sure the font size is 15, and then font weight, we've got font weight to both like this, right? Then make sure that, and then now we need a description, right? So let's wrap it with a padding widget, and let's copy this, then right below it, okay, with some spacing. And then, so if you're using the latest Flutter version, right, instead of using side box inside the column widget, what you can simply do is you can add this spacing here like this, right? You can simply add this spacing which will give you space between your children inside your column, right? But I'm just going to do it the old way. And then let's change this, and then let's change this to W500. And then here it's going to be description. And then now also need some spacing. And then here what we need, let's use a row widget, and then main axis alignment. Let's make sure the main axis alignment, and then main axis alignment dot space between, right? And then children, and then I'm just going to copy this text right here. It's the text for the quantity, right? It's going to display like the quantity, and then I'm just going to copy it again with some padding, and then I'm just going to paste it below. Instead of quantity, what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to change this to menu dot quantity dot toString of this, right? And then let's make sure that we just use constants there. And then after this raw widget, let's create some spacing again. Okay. And then we also need something similar. So let's just copy this row again. Let's copy this row and then let's paste it below again. So I'm just going to change this from quantity to price. And then here I'm just going to change to menu dot price dot toString, and then inside this price what we need is we need to wrap it inside the opening quotes, right? Then we need a / $, okay, so that it will show like us $8 sign. Okay, and then what we are going to do after this, we are just going to check if menu dot ingredients, right? So we are going to check if the ingredients is not equal to null. That means that if we have ingredients from our Cloudflare store, right, what I'm just going to do is, if we have the ingredients, what I'm just going to do is we are just going to display a text, and then the text is going to be add extra additionals. And then let's style it. Colors.black, and then font size 14, and then we need a font weight. Font weight dot, and then we need to wrap it with a padding widget. We need to wrap this one with a padding widget. Okay, so let's give it constant modifier, and then the next thing that we need is we need a column widget. So I'm just going to say column, and then the children are going to be menu dot ingredients. And then if we have the ingredients, what I'm just going to do is we are just going to look through the ingredients using the map function. Map, and then function is going to be ingredient. And then we are just going to return a checkbox list style, right? And then what it's going to check, it's going to check in the title. And then the title is going to be a text. Okay, and then we can use open quotes. assign ingredient.name ingredient.name.toString, and then we also need ingredient.price. .toString, like this. Okay. And then we need to style this text. So we'll make sure that we're giving the color of black. And then the next thing that we need is font size. The font size is going to be 15, and then we also need font weight. Okay. So now we need to, for this to work, we need to provide like a selected value, right? So the value is going to be selected ingredients dot contains. So we want to make sure that if it contains the ingredient from firebase, right? And then the next that we need is an active color, right? Active color. So the active color is supposed to be colors dot deep orange accent, and then we also need an unchanged, right? And then unchanged, and then we need to pass in the value is selected. And then we need to provide a set state, right? We need to provide a set state, and then we are going to check if is selected. We are going to check if selected. If it's selected, then we are going to just make sure that we add the ingredient from Firestore inside our empty list, and then else if it's not selected, what we are just going to do is we're just going to remove the ingredient, right? And then after this checkbox style, we need to make sure that we just convert it to a list. We need to make sure that we just convert this to a list, right? And then that's it. And then let's make sure that we just put this constant modifier here. So expected to find is unchanged, is selected. Let's remove this. Okay, now everything is working well, right? So let's just try to refresh our application, and then let's see if it's working well on our emulator, right? So this is our emulator right here, and then you can see now we have these ingredients, and then you can see you can select them, and actually we have the quantity, and then we have like our ingredients or extra things that if you want to add, right? So what I can do here is so this is okay. So basically what we need is also we need a button. 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 After this, we need a button. So what I'm just going to do is this button we are going to be elevated button, and then the text here is going to be add to cart. The text is going to be add to cart, and then let's style it here. And then let's give it a color, colors.white, and then the font weight. And font weight is going to be font weight .w600. Okay. And then make sure that this is a constant. So with this button, what we need to do is we just need to style it, right? We need to style this button. So we're just going to set it button dot style form like this, right? Elevated button dot style form, and then the background color is going to be colors the black, and then we also need shape, because shape is going to be round rectangular border, and then we need a border radius, and then it's going to be border radius dot circular 20, like this. Okay, so just move this constant here, so we can just put constant modifier. Okay, so now that we are done with this, let's make sure that we center it. And then we also need to give it a height and width. So we use the size box property. We'll give it a width of 357, and we'll also give it a height of 62. Alright, so now we check our user interface, our menu details page right here. You can see now we have a full user interface, right? Now we have a full user interface, right? Now we have like a full user interface. So I don't know what's going on with this. So I think we made a mistake here. So column widget, some child scroll view. Okay, let's check if we are to put size box, and then let's give it a height of 1. So that's the entire screen. Let's check. Okay, so now we are done with our menu details page. So what basically were we doing here? So inside our menu details page, we have this empty list, which we are going to store the selected ingredients option, right? So what we'll do here is basically we must first check if the ingredients exist in our database, right, for a particular menu item. If they exist, then what we are just going to do is we are just going to display the checkbox list tile, right, which is going to have this text with the name and then the price, and then also have then selected value, right? We make sure that the selected ingredient that the user selected is going to contain this ingredient, the ingredient from our firebase, right? So if that item is selected, right, that makes sure that if the user selected that item, well, we're just going to add that item inside our empty list that we created. Else we are just going to remove that item, right? So this is going to become handy when we are adding items into our cart, right? So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. So in the next video we are going to be adding our menu items to favorites. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.